14-year-old boy ascending to the throne of the world's greatest empire, a ruler who would shatter traditions, scandalize Rome, and declare himself the high priest of a foreign sun god. Welcome to the reign of Emperor Elagabalus, one of history's most controversial figures. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking scandals, bold reforms, and chaotic legacy of the teenage emperor who defied the norms of ancient Rome. Before we start, if you enjoy this video and find value in it, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like so that it will be shown to more people. Additionally, if you don't want to miss out on more videos, why not subscribe? That way you will be notified every time I upload. Now let us get started, shall we? Emperor Elagabalus was born in 204 CE in Emesa, modern-day Homs, Syria. His birth name was Sextus Varius Avitus Bassianus, though he is more commonly referred to as Elagabalus. After the sun god, he served as a high priest, more on that later. His mother, Julia Soaemias Bassiana, was a member of the Severan dynasty and niece of the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus. She was deeply involved in her son's rise to power and wielded significant influence during his reign. His father, Sextus Varius Marcellus, was a Syrian of equestrian rank who served as a senator and held various administrative posts in the Roman Empire. Last but not least, Julia Maesa, the grandmother of Elagabalus, played a pivotal role in orchestrating his rise to power. As a shrewd and politically savvy matriarch of the Severan dynasty, she used her influence, resources, and strategic cunning to overthrow Emperor Macrinus and secure the imperial throne for her family. Elagabalus's rise to power was a dramatic and calculated series of events orchestrated primarily by his grandmother, Julia Maesa. After Emperor Caracalla's assassination in 217 CE and the subsequent rise of Macrinus, the Severan dynasty was sidelined. Julia Maesa, determined to reclaim power for her family, declared Elagabalus, then a 14-year-old high priest of the Syrian sun god Elagabal, to be Caracalla's illegitimate son. This claim, paired with Maesa's strategic use of wealth to bribe the legions in Syria, gained the young priest substantial military support. In 218 CE, the Third Legion declared Elagabalus emperor, sparking a civil war against Macrinus. The decisive Battle of Antioch saw Macrinus defeated and executed, cementing Elagabalus's position as the new emperor. His rise was marked by the unification of religious fervor, dynastic loyalty, and military might, with Maesa's cunning strategy at its core. Despite his youth and inexperience, Elagabalus ascended to the throne as a figure of both divine and imperial promise, heralding one of the most turbulent reigns in Roman history. Quick question: do you consider yourself a creative person? Are you interested in building projects on the weekends? Or is it a way of life? Either way, I would like to introduce you to Ted's Woodworking. With this, you get access to 16,000 easy-to-follow woodworking plans. Nothing will be left to guesswork. You don't need a big workspace or expensive tools to get started. Whether you're an advanced craftsman or a complete beginner, these plans are perfect for any skill level. If that's something you would be interested in, I have a link where you can learn more in the description. Anyway, back to the video. At the heart of his reign was Elagabalus's devotion to the sun god Elagabal, the deity he served as high priest in Emesa. Upon becoming emperor, he attempted to impose the worship of Elagabal as Rome's primary religion, elevating the god above Jupiter, the chief deity of the Roman pantheon. He brought a sacred black stone representing Elagabal to Rome and built a grand temple, the Elagabalium, on the Palatine Hill. To further cement this shift, he presided over elaborate ceremonies and even married a Vestal Virgin, a direct affront to Roman religious laws and traditions. These actions alienated both the Roman Senate and the general populace, who viewed them as blasphemous and an attack on Roman identity. Elagabalus' personal life was equally controversial. He openly defied Roman norms regarding gender and sexuality, adopting effeminate clothing, makeup, and titles. Ancient sources describe him as seeking gender reassignment surgery, referring to himself as the wife of his male lovers, including his favorite charioteer, Heracles. While modern interpretations vary, and regardless of how it is viewed today, such behaviors were considered scandalous and unprecedented in conservative Roman society. His marriages, reportedly 5, including one to a Vestal virgin, shocked Rome. These unions, particularly the one to the Vestal, were seen as sacrilegious and destabilizing to traditional Roman values. While his grandmother, Julia Maesa, and other advisors attempted to stabilize the administration, Elagabalus showed little interest in governing, focusing instead on extravagant displays, religious rituals, and personal pleasures. His favoritism toward his Syrian entourage and disregard for Roman traditions alienated the Senate and the military, both critical pillars of imperial power. Not long after his rise to power, the Roman military, a cornerstone of imperial stability, grew increasingly alienated by Elagabalus's actions. Soldiers resented his favoritism toward his Syrian entourage and the lavish resources he poured into religious ceremonies honoring Elagabal. His perceived neglect of military affairs and lack of respect for their traditions further strained relations. The Praetorian Guard, responsible for the emperor's security, became particularly disillusioned as his erratic behavior undermined their loyalty. Elagabalus's unconventional rule deeply alienated the Senate and Roman aristocracy. His attempts to elevate the cult of Elagabal above traditional Roman religion were seen as an assault on Roman identity. Furthermore, his disregard for senatorial authority, coupled with his eccentric personal conduct, eroded the political support necessary to sustain his rule. Sensing the rising tide of opposition, Julia Maesa, the architect of Elagabalus's rise to power, began to distance herself from her grandson. She shifted her allegiance to her younger grandson, Severus Alexander, whom she positioned as a more acceptable alternative. Maesa convinced Elagabalus to adopt Alexander as his heir in an attempt to placate the growing discontent, but this move only hastened his downfall. The Praetorian Guard and other factions increasingly saw Alexander as a preferable replacement. In 222 CE, tensions between Elagabalus and the Praetorian Guard erupted into open conflict. Elagabalus, realizing his precarious position, tried to revoke Alexander's status as heir, sparking outrage among the Guard. The situation escalated into a violent coup within the imperial palace. Elagabalus and his mother, Julia Soaemias, were lured to the Praetorian camp under the pretense of addressing concerns. There they were attacked by the Guard. Elagabalus reportedly attempted to hide in a latrine, but was discovered and killed, along with his mother. Their bodies were mutilated, paraded through the streets, and ultimately thrown into the Tiber River, a stark display of the public's rejection of his rule. Following Elagabalus's death, Severus Alexander was proclaimed emperor, ushering in a brief period of relative stability. The Senate and military worked to erase Elagabalus's memory, declaring him a public enemy and subjecting him to damnatio memoriae, the Roman practice of erasing a disgraced individual from official history. Clearly, it didn't work too well in this case. Anyway, while ancient sources often portray his reign as a cautionary tale of excess and incompetence, modern historians acknowledge the political and cultural challenges he faced as a young, unconventional ruler. Nevertheless, Elagabalus's downfall serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of power in the Roman Empire and the consequences of alienating key institutions like the military and Senate. If you're still here, I just wanted to say that at the time of making this video, we are currently at 74 subscribers. While that may seem like a small number to some, I am highly grateful to each and every one of you. This is incredible to me as I took a hiatus for a few months, debating if I wanted to continue on this journey. I am extremely happy that I decided to keep going. Let's all learn from history and apply those lessons to our day-to-day lives together. Until next time.